Hello, friends. Hang on. I gotta see uh, if we're gonna have an echo. So just give me a second here. So how is everybody today? Let me know in chat what's up. I know Tammy's studio has exploded. Mine has just always exploded. Um, yeah, it has been raining here I did not paint. I actually just have like a weird filter on. So my Frida pillow here is actually green, but she looks, oh, and she's covered in dog hair. Um, yeah, I just wanted to put a filter on. You can see like all the orange stuff and my hair, it all still shows up as color. Everything else is black and white. See, let me see my phone. Yeah, that's funny. Um, anyway, just wanted to be fancy today with a filter. I got a new tattoo, guys. Do you want to see? I'm so excited about her. I think she's so lovely. My little ghost lady with her knobby knees. I think she's beautiful and I love her. Hello, Debbie. Welcome. Welcome to everybody. Um, let's turn Frida back around because I think it looks really cool that she's black and white and pink like me. Ooh, Debbie just did an oil painting session. What did you paint? I love her too. Thank you guys. She's so sweet. Um, all right. So my Kickstarter ended today. What? That's pretty amazing. Um, I'm pretty excited about that. And oh, I did not go to my market yesterday. Um, it rained so hard for like, it's not raining right now, but it was raining earlier, but it rained for probably almost 48 hours straight. And, oh, lemons in a bowl. I can't wait to see it. You'll have to post it to Discord. Um, so I didn't go to my market yesterday because it was supposed to go from 6 to midnight. And it was outside. And I was like, I'm not interested in that. I guess it was there. I saw a news article today that said that it was the rainiest, the second wettest day in Salt Lake City history. So it was pretty bad. So did not go to my market, and it felt great to just have that day to myself and not have to worry about that. So yeah, I think I'm getting a hive on my chin. So if my chin starts like swelling and just come and clear out to here, that's what's going on. Just ignore it. Anyway, yeah, so let's talk about what we came to talk about. And I can't remember what it was. Just kidding, I kind of can. Let me just refresh myself. Yes, reading art instruction books and watching painting tutorials. That's the first topic we're going to cover. And then the next one is experience, experience, experience. And they do kind of clash with each other. Hand me an EpiPen. No, I just have chronic hives, and yeah, I take antihistamines constantly. I take 2 to 3 Allegra 24s, like 24-hour allergy medicine. I take 2 to 3 of them every single day. So yeah, I might take another one here and it when we're done. Okay, so the first one that I said I wanted to talk about was read art instruction books and watch painting tutorials. And that is one of the ways that we are going to improve our art immediately. And so the reason I wanted to put that one on here is because if we're not taking classes, if we're being, self-taught, I mean, there's only so far you can go with that. You you will benefit from watching tutorials, from reading books, from looking at, instructional websites, etc. Because nobody can create in a vacuum. And I kind of feel like I create in a vacuum to an extent, especially since I moved my studio home. When I had my studio outside of the house, I had immediate access to, to other artists, to other art that I could look at and be inspired by, or whatever. But being at home, obviously, I don't have that. So if I feel a little stuck, or I feel a little, unsure of something, or I need inspiration to do something, then I do pull out my books, or I look at YouTube videos. It's definitely changed the types of things that I look at for in like tutorials. But this morning, for example, I was watching a tutorial on drawing simple faces, which is something I already do from time to time. And I didn't learn anything new out of it, but watching it kind of helps re-solidify some ideas for myself, and it kind of drives that inspiration. So I spent like the next 30 minutes or so after I watched that just sketching some really ugly little faces. I don't even have them here. And if I did, I wouldn't show them to you because they're just bad, but it doesn't matter. But it did kind of reignite something, and I want to get back into that and do more sketching and drawing. Especially with the book and everything. I'm like, if I need illustrations, guess where those are coming from? Also, guess who's not an illustrator? So, yeah, I gotta crack that whip on there. So I'll probably be watching quite a few drawing tutorials, because to just sit down and go, it's fine, I kind of have a basis in drawing, and then just go with that. I think that I would be missing opportunities for growth. So that's why I think that that's so important. I still buy books, like instructional books, or like project books, because you never know what little piece of information is gonna like switch on a light bulb and completely change things for you. I'll even still sometimes buy beginner books, because, again, when you are going over the fundamentals, the fundamentals are the basis that everybody's art is, predicated on. Like, if we don't have these certain basics, we can't build the house. That's our foundation. And sometimes I think it's good to go back and be reminded of some of those foundational elements that we might have forgotten, or our process has changed those elements so much that they're unrecognizable, and it's good to get back to basics for a minute. So, but one of the books that I bought several years ago, I think I actually bought it probably 9 years ago or so. I bought those, was it 50 acrylic paintings by Mark Daniel Nelson? I think that's what it is. Let's see. 50 acrylic paintings. Yeah. Learn to paint in acrylics with 50 small paintings. I know someone else in here has the same book, because we've talked about it before. Let's see if you can see that one. So that book, actually, that looks like a newer version. There's paintings in there that aren't in the one I have. But anyway, So I bought that book. It's really geared toward beginners, but during the pandemic, I kind of picked it up again because I had all kinds of time on my hands, and it completely changed the way that I paint. It is responsible for so much of the way I paint now, including using matte medium, limited palettes, my layering effect. Like, that's the book that started it. So I don't want you, even if you're like, it's fine, I know how to do these things now, I don't want you to discount the value of tutorials and instruction books. That doesn't mean you have to go out and watch like the most basic painting tutorial you can find. Maybe now your needs have changed more to processes or whatever. Tammy says, I highly recommend painting with gouache for illustration, also digital. Yeah, and I'm going to be I do have some gouache and I need to mess with that more because I haven't really touched it much. My comfort is a little bit more with watercolor than gouache, so I probably need to check that and see if I can figure out a technique in gouache. Digital, I have considered, but honestly, I feel like there's such a big learning curve for digital that, with pen and ink and watercolor and even gouache to an extent, like I've already kind of got the basics, and then it's just like practicing and finding my technique. But with digital, I'm like, I would be starting square one, and that's really intimidating. I don't think this is the right project for that, but oh, it was you. Yeah. So I thought it might have been you, Eileen. So I really like those books and I still look at them from time to time, even though like it's very basic information. They're written for new painters. But sometimes my technique gets a little bit complex and convoluted. And so it is good to go back and just kind of simplify things. So I think no matter where you are in your stage of learning, you can benefit from books and tutorials. Excuse me. Um so tell me about what kind of resources do you guys use to continue learning or to help you refine. I'm not necessarily talking about, I've never used oil paint before, and so I'm going to go watch an oil painting video. I mean, that counts. It does count, but that's also picking up something brand new. I mean, as far as like refining what you've already got, expanding on what you've already got. That's kind of what I'm talking about. And things like this count. But do you watch YouTube videos? What kind of YouTube videos are you watching? Are you watching full tutorials, techniques, maybe just inspiration, like people talking about, different mindsets into making art, things like that? Are you reading instructional books? If so, what kind? I'll tell you about another video that I watched yesterday. God, let me see if I can find it. I really, really like this kid. And I subscribed to him. What is his name, though? Let's see. Am I in the wrong channel? No. 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 Good grief. Let me look at my history. Sorry, I really want to share this video with you guys. It's this kid who he does drawing. He's an illustrator. Here he is, Goblish. Okay, let me mute it real quick. So his YouTube name is Goblish. I'm going to type it in here. Um, and it was a video called How to Draw Literally Anything. And basically, he was going over a couple of techniques that they use in the drawing on the right side of your brain book, which now I really got to get that book. I've heard a lot of people say it's great, but so that's the kind of like tutorial type thing I'm watching these days. Ilya's doing old tutorials again. Excellent. Doing workshops at your art shop and reading books, anything for ideas. Those are all excellent. Excellent, excellent. And watched and tried some Paul Foxton tutorials in oil. I have not heard of him. I'll have to look him up. I also think, and this kind of digs in a little bit deeper into another point that I've got in the list of 101 ways, so I'll just kind of touch on it right now. Another thing is, just like Ilya was saying about, old tutorials, workshops, books, this Paul Foxton, things like that, is to diversify where you are getting your information from. So that means you're learning from all kinds of sources, not just from me, not just from, whatever. Because I can only give you the information that I have, and I don't have all of the information. And, this person or this book or whatever, it has a finite amount of information. And by reaching out, you get different perspectives, different information, different things to try, different inspiration. So definitely diversify where you are learning from. Oh yeah, Paul Foxton. But see, that's another thing, and that actually goes into another point that I have on the list is about do take classes, watch videos, read books, whatever that you feel are too advanced for you and where you are. So he's into chroma, and if chroma feels like it's a little bit of a topic that you're not ready for, or you don't really understand, you don't see how it's applicable to what you do right now, that's fine. But I think still kind of exposing yourself to that information is helpful. I think maybe it's just me. In the past, I have been, but I think it's probably most people. In the past, when I was, first learning, first coming up in art, I would watch videos that I felt like weren't too challenging. And I feel like that's a little bit hobbling, because then you're trying to grow your skills. But, if you're right here and the tutorial you're watching is right here, you're not going to grow to right here. You're just going to stay right here. But if you are right here and the tutorial you're watching is right here, you might get up to here. You might not get to that level, but it's going to help you grow a little bit. So diversify and challenge yourself. You don't have to challenge yourself every single time, but definitely find tutorials and instructions that are challenging for you. Donna says, looking at art, been doing a little sketching, watching tutorials of subject matter I usually don't paint. Excellent. Mark Walker, I'm not familiar with him either. I'll have to look him up too. Waller, got it. Tammy does some tutorials, some paid classes, a lot of art history, and a lot of experimenting. Excellent. What kind of tutorials are you doing, Tammy? Is it mostly digital work, or what are you doing there? Welcome, Meta. Better late than never. Limitations and challenges. Excellent. Those are good too. yeah, so with all of that said about making sure that you are doing tutorials of whatever kind, that you are doing classes, workshops, instructional books or websites, etc., we can move on to the second topic, which is to nope, not experiment, experience. It's experience, experience, experience. And the differentiation that I see that I'm going to be making between those two in the book is I have felt for a long time now that so many tutorial teachers on YouTube, including myself, I'm not saying that I am, better than anybody else. We get focused on this is what the audience wants. They want to paint a picture that they like, they want to know how to do it. And so we say, okay, here's the image we're going to paint. Get your paint, do this. There, now you have a painting. But if you are solely relying on things like that, you're not actually, over the long run, I don't mean at all, but over the long run, you are not actually going to be doing a lot of growing. Your skills might grow with the instructor who you are watching. As they start presenting more complex images, you might be able to paint more complex images. But what you're not going to develop from watching tutorials is how to think of the images. What are you even going to paint? No idea, because you haven't been able to exercise that part of your brain. Somebody else has said, here's what we're painting. How do we know what colors to use? Well, we don't, except it's in the materials list. Those are the colors I'm going to use. Okay, how do we know where to start in the image? Well, I don't. I just followed what the teacher did. So it's not setting you up to become the artist that you want to become. Unless the artist you want to become is somebody who can follow a tutorial and paint a specific image that someone else has designated. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if that's not what you want, then you have to experience for yourself. Let's see. We'll come back to that in just a second. Tammy's done some digital gouache, oil pastels. You should not limit all of those mediums, girl. Throw the spaghetti at the wall. That's how you see what sticks. I'm your acrylic lady. Heck yes. But I do think you should diversify that too. What was helpful when you started, Ilya? Without the side wheels. Heck yeah. The training wheels. Yeah. Learn the techniques and then go off the map 100%. I am here for that. I fully encourage that. Okay, so I think of being an artist as kind of having a puzzle. We've got a puzzle in front of us. And maybe this puzzle it's like a 50-piece puzzle. Let's just say. One of those pieces is, like Ilya just said, being told what to do. And there's a piece. And maybe it's an important piece. It's like, it's got most of the face of the little cartoon character that's on the puzzle or whatever's on it. It's an important piece. And you feel like, with this piece, I see what the image is supposed to be. I'm pretty satisfied with this one piece. But if you want to continue building that puzzle, you have to have all the pieces. This piece is experience. This piece is creativity. This piece is failures. This piece is garbage paintings. This piece is, there's a piece for everything. And it's only when you can get all of those pieces and put them together that you become a strong artist. It's not going to happen through watching tutorials alone. And I bring that up. I think that most of you guys are beyond that. You are not strictly tutorial learners at this point. But I do hear so much from people, well, I don't know what to paint, and I hear that in this group sometimes too. And I certainly go through it myself. So again, I'm not putting myself up here on this pedestal. But I don't know what to paint. How do I know when I'm done? How do I know where to start? How do I know this? How do I know that? All of that. That is you searching for those pieces of the puzzle. And sometimes you can only find those puzzle pieces through experience. That's how I learned. I did some tutorials. I bought some books. Did I take any? I didn't take any classes. I would say that if my learning how to paint was pie, we'd have tutorials, books, and then the rest would be experience. So you cannot discount the value of experience. Experience is what's going to help you exercise your creativity muscle. We talked about that last time, about how creativity is not like pie, where if you use some, now that's gone. It's like tapeworms. Remember? You cut the tapeworm in half and now you have two. That's what creativity is. Every time you use it, you cut it in half and now you have two. And over time, you build up this reserve. You use so much of it that it's stronger and it's more abundant and it is more readily accessible when you need it. I can tell you, this color plus this color makes this color. But until your brain instinctively looks at the color and says, oh, I bet that's these two colors mixed together, you don't have the experience to really to understand like how I came to those colors, right? Like I can pretty much look at a color mixture on my canvas or on my palette, look at it, and I know exactly what colors went into it. And it just all comes from experience. Ellie says it's like cooking, like a cooking recipe. At first, you follow it to the letter. Later on, you add something, leave something out. In the end, you might cook without the recipe. 100%. That's exactly what it's like. Yeah. Yeah, you have to take the wheels off. And that's not to say that, because clearly I just told you, watch tutorials, read instructional books. These are good things to help you learn. I didn't say stop doing that. What I'm saying is, like you said, Donna and Ilya, take the wheels off, but sometimes put them back on. It's kind of fun to be able to just like ride without worrying that you're going to topple over. You can do both. And eventually, in some ways, you'll stop using the training wheels altogether. Like, I don't look at any acrylic specific tutorials anymore. I'm trying to think if I think the last one I watched, it happened to be acrylic, but it was more about mixed media. It was more about abstract and kind of thinking in that abstract way. So while they were using acrylic, it was about abstract. But acrylic technique, I threw those training wheels away. They're gone. I don't even use those anymore. In fact, if I want to expand my acrylic technique, I'm going to look at mixed media tutorials to try and see how can I take something that's not acrylic and integrate it and make my acrylic stronger. Or how can I watch this oil painting video, learn something from there, figure out a way to translate that into my paintings. Um, yeah, a lot of jobs require people to refresh skills. Thanks, Tammy. Refresh skills. That's exactly what I'm looking for there. Um, I think that's exactly what I'm asking you to do through tutorials, through art instruction books, things like that. But not to live in those realms. You have to get out there and experience. And to keep going with the training wheels analogy, let's say that those are your training wheels. And you've been riding around on those training wheels for a long time. And you think, okay, I want to try to not use the training wheels. So you take them off. You quit watching tutorials, but you keep riding that bike. You keep painting. You're going to fall down a few times because that's what happens, right? The training wheels get you used to what it feels like, what the motion of the action feels like, how to steer. But the training wheels don't necessarily tell your brain where its center is. At least the training wheels I had on my bike, it was like, go this way and one wheel would touch the ground, or this way and one wheel would touch the ground. They were never on the ground at the same time. This analogy is getting away from me, but if you take the training wheels off, you're going to fall down a few times. If you stop watching tutorials and you start painting on your own, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make some ugly paintings. You're going to have no idea where to start, where to end, what to paint, all of those things. But lean into it and focus on that, because that is where growth comes from. Growth doesn't come from me saying, okay, now do this and you doing that. There's only so much growth that you can get from there. Debbie says, I found that after a while I was playing it safe by following tutorials with acrylics. Now painting in oils Alla Prima are helpful at this. Tutorials are helpful at this point. Exactly. And eventually you won't need those anymore either. And so there's an interplay there. That's why I chose these two together, even though they kind of sound a little contradictory. Watch tutorials, don't watch tutorials. I think that they work together hand in hand. So tell me, because this does open us up into some other topics that I will also cover in the book later, but we can talk about them now. What are some of those puzzle pieces that you guys feel like you're missing, or that you haven't learned through tutorials? While you respond to that, there was a point I started making and then I got sidetracked. I was going to say, I think that because us as, YouTube tutorial makers, we know what our audience wants and needs and doesn't want, or thinks they don't want or need. We have become very narrowly focused, right? We might have some amount of talk about how you get ideas, or why I chose these colors, or how to draw something, but we do not dig into any of the other puzzle pieces. And I think that has created a community of artists who feel like they will never get rid of those training wheels. And in some ways, I feel like that's a disservice that we did to our community. And that's one of the reasons I don't want to do tutorials anymore. I don't want to continue to contribute to that. I do want to continue to teach, but I want to help you get the other puzzle pieces as well. Exactly, Ilya, 100%. You're not learning the personal touch doing tutorials. And another thing you're not learning that I haven't mentioned is you're not figuring out your style. You're not figuring out who you are as an artist and what your style is. You're mimicking other people's work. Mimicking sounds harsh and accusatory, and please understand that's not what I mean. But you're mimicking somebody else's style and technique, and that's perfectly fine. But if you want to continue to grow, you have to find your own. And you will only find your own by forging your own path, you know? It's always really exciting to me, and so many of you here today fall into this category. It's always really exciting to me when somebody is like, I have been painting with you for X amount of years, and now I do this, and here's my art, and I look at it and I'm like, this art is amazing, and it's not mine. It's not a duplication of mine. It's somebody is becoming who they are, and that is so thrilling, and that's what I want for everybody. Donna says, I feel like my use of color is overblown and I need to tame it down a bit. That's an interesting problem, Donna. Hang tight on that. I'm going to come back to that. Tammy said, I feel at this point, for me, just doing a tutorial of a specific picture is like doing a coloring book. And I know that's what some people want. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's fine. That's what some people want. That's what they need. We all have different goals with art. Some people just want to do the thing for the enjoyment of it. They're not worried about coming up with their own. It's like, you can think of it like those, the crystal paintings, right? Where you pick up the crystal dots and put them down. That looks so pleasing and so satisfying and so fun. But there's no like decision making that goes into that. It's not what it's for. It's for just the pleasing, satisfying, fun part. And that's what some people want from art, and that's fine. Yeah, you need the coloring book before you're brave enough to draw or paint on your own. Absolutely. So dog hair stuck to my chapstick. And that is exactly what tutorials should be for, is those starting points. But I don't feel like tutorials should be like the vehicle that carries you all the way through your art journey, because that vehicle only goes so far so fast. But getting you started, getting you figuring out how to balance yourself on that bike, and how to steer it and how to pedal it and how fast it goes, you're learning all of those things. That's what the training wheels are for. Oh my gosh, stinking dog hair. Okay, Debbie, I want to come back to, oh no, Donna, sorry. I want to come back to what you said about your color being overblown. So I want to ask you about that. First, this is a multifaceted question. Why do you feel like your color is overblown? What about it? Do you like it? Like, are you pleased by these bright colors? Do you feel like it's overblown because other people don't paint in the same vibrancy? Or do you not like the vibrancy and don't know how to change it? Like, what's going on in there? Why don't you like it? Why do you feel like you need to change it? All of that. Yeah. Yeah, it's a kit. You could make it into art. Be like, I'm not following these instructions. I'm going to do it however I want with whatever colors I want. That would be a different thing altogether. But yeah. You like it, but you think it looks juvenile. Okay. So here's the thing. If you like something about your art, then that's all that matters. If you actually think that it looks juvenile, then there's ways you can change it, that you can, fix that. If you're worried that someone else thinks it looks juvenile, I just wouldn't, because I wouldn't. There's a lot of artists who paint professionally in very bold, bright, saturated colors, and it's not wrong. So, so just a super quick way to help you, Donna, to start maybe give it a little bit more of a professional look. Take away from, we're not going to say juvenile, we're going to say amateur, okay? And amateur is not a bad word. You don't have to get rid of your saturated colors. Instead, add some grays where it just add some grays strategically, because that will make your vivid colors seem more special. So, and I don't mean like a neutral gray like what I have going on here, but let's say you're painting a bowl of apples, okay? You've got this bowl of apples, and the bowl is bright teal, and the apples are bright red, and you're feeling like this is way too much color. Cool. The tabletop, let's make it brown. Throw in some grayed down colors in there. Some browns, some oranges, maybe even a little bit of blue, but grayed down, desaturated. The shadows of the bowl, add a little bit of just a hint of red into the gray or into the teal, because that will shift it to grayer. Now you've got this bright teal bowl, but the shadows are grayed down. Maybe the highlights are grayed down a little bit. Same with the apples. Get some kind of grayed pinks or yellows on them. Make the shadows nice and dark, kind of grayed. Let that red sing out. So it's not about getting rid of the vibrancy. It's about letting that vibrancy live where it's important and making everything else a little bit grayed down, if that helps. We can go over that another time in like a painting demo session. Yeah. I mean, coloring books have their places. I do love a coloring book sometimes. So yeah, and then if you guys have other questions about what we have been talking about today, let me know. I just want to go back and look at what we talked about last time, because I wanted to follow up on that. So give me just a second. Oh, wrong. I'm on the wrong YouTube account. Okay. Okay, what did we talk about? No. Hush, hush. Define what success means for each painting before you start, and change your relationship with mistakes. So I want to know, how has that been for you guys? Is that something that you have even thought about since then? I kind of feel like sometimes we get done with these and everybody's like, that was awesome, that was so helpful. And then the light switch is switched off and you don't think about it again for the rest of the week. I am not faulting you. I am very much the same way. But yeah, I'm going to follow up to see if we can make some of this stuff stick. So tell me, have you done any of that, defining success before you start painting? And what does that look like for you? How's it going trying to change your relationship with mistakes? The whole, it's gonna suck anyway. What did we say about that? And how's that been going? You keep trying to make your own brighter. But again, the best way to make it seem brighter is to add grays. You want the bright piece of fruit that you painted to just really sing and be vivid. then you don't want this super bright saturated wall behind it, because then, you know, the color of the fruit is going to be competing. If it doesn't have to compete, it's going to seem more vivid or more saturated, or if it's a light object against a dark background, it's going to seem brighter. Vice versa, a dark object on a light background is going to seem darker. So maybe think of it like that. Think of it in terms of black and black, not black and white. Um, this will work for Donna for the vibrancy. It can work for values. Um, if you hear some banging, it's just Vince doing some redecorating. Um, so if you think about, I have a pear and I want to paint this pear against this wall. Very simple painting. I want to make sure that this pear really stands out. So this is what I mean, thinking black and black. If I paint this pear black and I put it against a black wall, it's not going to stand out. Likewise, if I'm painting it really, really vibrant and bright and I'm painting it against a vibrant and bright wall, it's not going to stand out. So think of things like that. Donna has always tried to use mistakes as a learning tool and better use my imagination. Perfect. Yeah, contrast. Contrast is so much fun. I mean, I think that's primarily, you know, the comments that I get on my art about, like, you're so good at light or mood or whatever. It's all because I focus on contrast, whether it's a contrast of color or value or temperature, saturation, things like that. There's the pears again. I don't know why I kept, like, in those analogies, I just kept going to pears. And maybe it's because I did see that pears painting today. I was, or yesterday, I was tidying up my desk. Can you believe it? I tidied up exactly 1/3 of my desk yesterday. So, yeah, I got to get that going more. I got to get my whole desk cleared off and tidied because I have those live events that I promised in my Kickstarter, and I'm going to have, you know, people hanging out kind of like this while I cut out prints, and I don't want total strangers to see that I make art in a minefield of just junk. You guys know. That's fine. Like I said, we're besties. I don't care if you guys know that, but I don't want randos to know things like that about me. So, all right. So we have about 10 minutes left. What do you guys want to talk about? Do you have any questions about anything we've discussed today? Or, you know, whatever. What else do you guys feel like you need or want, or you won't tell them? Thanks. You are a pal and I appreciate it. Oh, Debbie posted an oil painting. Oh, yeah. These are your lemons. Debbie, that's gorgeous. And you know what my favorite part is? Your shadow. Especially the shadow next to this wedge, like all those streaks of those cool colors. Oh, you can't see it because I've got the filter on it. But like right in here, where you can see those dark streaks, the different values and temperatures you've got in there, really exciting. It makes those shadows feel very vibrant and alive. This painting reminds me quite a bit of, is it Anne Blockley? Yeah, I think Anne Blockley. Let me see. No, 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 no. Anne Blockley is a watercolor artist. Oh, Patty Mullica. That's it. You got to spell her name right or else other things come up. So let's see. See, here's one of Patty Malika's. It's a totally different topic, but that's exactly what your lemons reminded me of. I absolutely love her. She's one of my favorite artists. Hello, Annie. Welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, we didn't quite make 7,000, but you know what? I cannot even complain about that because let me tell you the truth, friends. When I started my campaign, I was terrified that it wasn't even going to fund $2,000. I was like, I mean, I figured it would because it was only $2,000, but I was still like, what if it doesn't? And then, of course, the little fantasy in the head, comes on. It's like, yeah, but what if you made like 5,000? So, like, even in my like fantasy version of how it would turn out, it was $5,000 that I could make. And so the fact that I cleared just barely under 7,000 is like, that's insane. My chin is swollen. You see that right there? Ah, dang it. Yeah, so that was insane. And thank you so much to all of you, whether you contributed to it or not, being supportive of it and cheering me on and all of that has been equally as important. Because seriously, if it were met with a lukewarm response, even if it made the money, I would feel weird about it. So yeah, you guys are amazing. Thank you for being my front line and all of that. So what I'm doing for the rest of today, I almost didn't get to go live. I was like, crap, I'm gonna have to message these guys and tell them that I can't do the live event today because I murdered our router. I was getting the printer set up. I'm going to do some test prints on it just to make sure that everything is still a-okay with the printer, which I'm sure it is. But to do so, I had to hook the printer up to the Wi-Fi, and then we accidentally factory reset the router and couldn't get back onto online. And then finally we did, so that was fine. But yeah, so I need to do some test prints, make sure the printer's good. Over the next couple days, I will be ordering the paper, packaging materials, as soon as it funds, which they said it's like 2 weeks. Hopefully it's not that long. Then I'll go pay for the prints or the photographs and pick up my paintings. And I love you guys too, Ilya. Yeah, so I'm hoping by the end of the month to start printing. My timeline was out farther than that. My timeline was that I would start mailing prints by January, but it's going to be sooner than that. So, yeah, I'm hoping by the end of this month, at the latest. So, but we'll see. But all right, does anybody have anything else that you want to talk about? We still have a few minutes and I can hang out if you guys are wanting to keep talking. I just need to look at that right there. That's not even a very big hive, but that's because I have antihistamine in me. Ugh. Oh, you were already charged, Eileen? Oh, interesting. I thought that especially being Sunday. Um, okay. Will you guys keep me updated on what emails you get about it? I mean, if I send out an update, obviously I know you got that, but I didn't know that they would be collecting so soon. I wonder if I even have access to that information. I bet I don't. Yeah, I know that in the first 7 days they collect, and like if anyone's pledge doesn't go through, then they get like another 7 days. before they try it again. So that's why it takes 2 weeks. But I guess if everybody clears immediately, then there won't be anything to hold it back. So 346%, you guys. What? That's insane. Cool. And thank you, you guys. You guys are the best. Let's see if it says. Nope. I don't have access to any of that information. It doesn't tell me who's been charged or anything yet. So well, you're gonna have to find one then, Ilya. Just kidding. As soon as I have the print files, and I get everything at least on an automated, I've got things mailed out. I'm not running myself ragged trying to make prints anymore. Then I will get prints listed on my website, and you can use PayPal on there. You got the pledge collected email too? Excellent. Excellent. Oh, one last thing. It's still just about prints. I am going to have like a range of... Donna, that's a good question. I'll come right back to that. So I'm going to have a range of things that are available. So obviously I'll have my original painting, whatever the painting is. And then I'll have prints of various sizes. So that would be kind of two ends of the spectrum. Let's say a $600 painting, and a print of the comparable size for like, I don't know, I'm pulling numbers out of the air based on my crappy memory, $45 to $50. But I'll have something a little bit more middle of the road too. I'm going to be trying out putting some of the prints on blocks, like the wood panels, the cradled wood panels. I'll probably do like gold leaf on the edges because that's how I'm rolling these days. And then the paintings on the wooden blocks will be hand embellished. And then that way it's not just like a flat print that you have to buy a frame for. It's not the original painting that's hundreds of dollars. Be something a little bit more middle of the road. So yeah, so that's exciting. I'm looking forward to trying that. And Donna wants to know, when do we let you know which prints we want? So in the next day or so, I'm almost ready for it, but it won't be today. In the next day or so, I will send out surveys. So everybody will get a survey based on whatever it is that you pledged for. And it will say, okay, you are getting these sizes of prints. Which images do you want for those? And then it'll have it listed. Like, I want this painting or this one. Not all paintings are available in all of the sizes, but I'm going to break that down in the surveys. So the sooner you fill out that survey and get it back to me, the closer to the top of the line you go for when I start packaging things. You do hear him. Come here. Come here, noisy. Well, now, come here. Come here, jerk face. Say hi. Everybody wants to say hi to Mr. Moon. Yeah, can you say hi? No, now you're going to be quiet. Yeah. He was very, very all up in our grill last night. Ow! During our podcast. He was like rolling around on my lap and I had to give him love. So, yeah. I mean, you could also go watch the Castle of Spirits True Ghost Stories podcast if you want on YouTube and get to see Mr. Moon. I'm just trying to push my podcast. You don't have to listen to it if you don't want to. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to let you guys go then. I have tons of stuff to do to get ready for, now that the Kickstarter has ended. And yeah, I'm going to go get busy on that stuff. So let's continue the conversation in Discord. If you guys have anything about any of these topics, your moon doggy before he revoked himself? What does that mean? Can you hear him purring? He's a loud purr. Anyway, yeah. Oh, rehomed. Oh, poor guy. Yeah, I'm gonna go get busy, you guys. Shoot me a message in Discord if you have any questions or any other topics that you'd like to talk about next. Chances are it is on my list of 101 ways. And I will see you guys again, not this coming Friday, the next Friday, the 17th. So, all right, I'm going to stop gabbing at you. Love you guys so much. Goodbye.